Well, we're very proud in Ireland of our magnificent coastline, our beaches and our rivers. But according to the EPA, many rivers in Ireland are deteriorating, while temporary beach closures caused by pollution almost doubled last year. And as our reporter Una Smith's been finding out, all across this country, swimmers, anglers and businesses say those trends are being felt in very different ways. Here's Una's report.
A prolonged heat wave and record temperatures this summer have brought us to our beaches and waterways in droves for a cool down and relaxation. Here in Rush in North Dublin, locals say they live for their daily dip, and on good days, hundreds arrive onto the beaches here.
We don't have an awful lot in Rush except our beautiful beaches. We need families to know that they can come to Rush.
But this year, like last summer, they've been frustrated with no swim notices due to problems at a local sewage treatment plant.
Unfortunately, so far this summer, the beaches have been closed twice already. But if there's any kind of an issue with the pumping stations, then they have to issue a do not swim notice.
It's disappointing, you know, sometimes you're getting in the water and you're just going, right, hope for the best.
The water at Rush, like roughly 80% of all bathing places nationally, is rated excellent, with almost all meeting the minimum standard. But what's not reflected in these ratings are temporary closures due to sewage and other pollution, which almost doubled nationally last year.
We need to see better management of those treatment plants. More and more now, because of climate change and changes in weather patterns, we see that really intense rainfall events are causing stormwater overflows into coastal areas. And so for that reason, we're seeing bathing waters closed for a period of time.
Locals in Rush would like to see more testing every week and year-round.
I did some lessons last year. It was all about putting your face into the water and breathing. So I'm very reluctant to do that if I think, have we got accurate information?
Once the notice goes up, the beaches are closed. It impacts hugely on the local economy.
Near one of our busiest tourist sites in Cashel in North Tipperary is the stunning River Suir, a draw for locals and tourists alike, as it's internationally renowned for wild brown trout fishing.
I've taken people from virtually every country in the world fishing here. I'm now reluctant to do that for obvious reasons. It's an embarrassment to bring foreign anglers to the river now. It's in such a state. What's happening here is very, very far from natural. We have a huge amount of weed growth. This is blanket weed, and it prevents the insects reproducing because the eggs of the insects cannot reach the bed of the river in order to reproduce. And obviously that affects not just the insects themselves, but all the other animals and the birds, etc., up along the food chain.
The River Suir is just one of hundreds of rivers in trouble. Last month, the Environmental Protection Agency said that there are more rivers going into decline than improving. This leaves almost half, or 46% of our rivers and lakes, in poor or moderate condition, with only 54% being considered good or of high quality.
The report really shows that there's no improvement in river or lake water quality. So yes, it's really a sad state of affairs in Ireland.
What was roughly a 9-mile stretch of fishing for anglers on this part of the river is now limited to roughly 1 mile, with low fish numbers and dwindling wildlife.
Well, the kingfishers, very rarely seen now. Black caps, for instance. The dippers, I haven't seen a dipper, I couldn't tell you when. Herons become very scarce as well.
While there are multiple pollution sources on the shore in County Tipperary, almost 70% of farmers failed initial inspections for good agricultural practice, compared to a national average of 43%. But in follow-up inspections, Tipperary farmers performed better than the national average.
Where you have intensification of agriculture, you're going to see those excess nutrients entering the waterways. So it's really around managing our land and indeed stopping wastewater entering in surface waters in many areas.
The ICMSA, representing dairy farmers, said farmers have engaged and were in the process of adapting to the new water quality requirements and would up their game. It also said that several state bodies were discharging either raw or inadequately treated matter into the rivers in the area. The problems on the river shore are experienced on many other waterways countrywide. In Meath, for example, the River Nanny is disappearing due to the overgrowth of vegetation caused by nitrates.
The river changes from 10, 15 years ago. Growing up, you would have seen kids on both sides of the bridge here catching little minnows, small trout, stone loach, all that sort of thing. But with all the algae and the overgrown weeds, it's non-existent anymore. Even the kids swimming. We used to have a local swimming area there with a swing and everything on it, and it's all gone.
Even rivers in special areas of conservation, like the Owen Riff River, which flows into Lough Carb in County Galway, are being polluted. Protected species, such as the pearl mussel, are coated with green algae. And while most water pollution is slow and destructive, there's an ongoing issue of major pollution events. Overnight, a fish kill of 4,000 to 5,000 fish was reported on the Cavan Town River. And on the River Glyde in County Louth last month, 20,000 fish were killed in a single pollution incident.
Inland Fisheries Ireland has had a team of environmental officers here on the River Glyde in County Louth since Tuesday evening. The team
It's just one of 13 fish kills reported by inland fisheries so far this year, but by far the biggest, causing real sadness to the local community, for whom their local river is an important amenity.
People are genuinely heartbroken about what happened, as for generations and generations, families have fished the river. Before we were called the Glyde Inn, we were called the Salmon Inn, which shows the significance of wild Annigasson salmon back in the day. So I would love to be able to put wild Annigasson on the menu.
But it's estimated that the river could take many years to recover. And while Connor's current sea menu remains unaffected and popular, his business right on the river is affected.
Generally, we would have a good few anglers that would come in after a day's fishing for a bite to eat, and some of them would actually stay overnight in our accommodation. Unfortunately, we've seen quite a dip in the numbers coming for that.
Despite the growing challenges to water quality, experts say there are some obvious solutions.
Pollution events are significant still, but we also now are in a time where we have a climate crisis, so we have a bigger job, a more difficult job ahead, I believe. I'm really positive about the way forward, but I think we need to be looking at it from the perspective of natural solutions, but also looking at how we manage agriculture and also how we manage our wastewater over the coming years.
If we fail in this challenge, an essential part of life for many communities will be lost.
I'm looking at the WhatsApp group to see what time is high tide. It's been a really positive thing in my life since I started getting into the sea in 2020. Really, really has been huge.
We have Fáilte Éireann going to America and all over the world and lauding our green credentials and our clean waterways. That flies in the face of the facts. Our river is effectively dying in front of our eyes.
George there finishing Una Smith's report. And I'm joined in studio by Roger O'Gorman, leader of the Green Party, and from Cork by Minister of State Christopher O'Sullivan. Welcome to you both. Let me start with you, Minister. I mean, we heard there in Una's report, temporary beach closures because of pollution or because of sewage almost doubled nationally last year. What's going on? That is not good.
Yeah, first of all, Miriam, just to say at the outset, of course, it's disappointing for me as Minister to look at that VT and to see the feedback from people right around Ireland in terms of whether it's Tipperary or Rush or the River Glyde, and to hear about their experiences. And that's something we need to sit up and take notice of and take on board. And obviously as well, that there was reference to the recent EPA report where we've seen a slight reduction in the amount of rivers that are in good ecological status. So we don't want to hear that. We want people to be able to enjoy our coast. We want people to be able to get out there and bathe safely. We want to be able to use our rivers for recreation. But for me, as Minister with responsibility for nature, very importantly, I want our rivers to bounce back in terms of be healthy ecologically. That's really important to me. We want to see wild salmon and wild fish return to our rivers.
But I hear, sorry, Minister, you keep saying what you want. What are you doing to get that? You're the Minister.
Yeah, so at the moment, we're in the middle of our third water action plan, okay? And while there have been some failures, we have to learn from those failures. We have to look at what we've done wrong, but there have been some successes. And the EPA report, remember, has referenced those successes. It has shown that where we put in place targeted measures, either working with farmers or working with communities, it has shown that we are achieving great results in terms of water quality improvement. What we need to do now with the fourth water action plan, and we'll have the first draft of that in December, is to scale that up, do it at a much greater scale right across the country so we can actually see improvements. And also, just to say, Miriam, for the first time ever, Ishgarin is being properly resourced to the tune of 12.2 billion, and that's increased their capacity, which will allow them to deal with that.
There are improvements as well as what we witnessed there.
We have to ensure that Irish people, no matter where they live in the country, have access to clean water, not just for health reasons, but for the role water plays in our economy, in biodiversity, and in general wellness. Two of the biggest fish kills in our country's history have taken place in the last 18 months on the Glyde and on the Blackwater, and then the Cavan incident yesterday. These are becoming more and more regular, and climate change is going to make that worse. We're getting hotter summers. That means lower levels in our water. That means that pollution events are actually worse. I think there's a question of responsibility for water quality. It's all over the place. You have the EPA, you have inland fisheries, you have the Department of Agriculture, you have the Department of Housing, you have all the local authorities. And when everyone's responsible, ultimately no one's responsible. We discussed this a year ago when we were talking about the situation in Ladies Island Lake, and Christopher was part of that discussion as well, and who actually takes responsibility. I think ultimately we need to see a senior government minister taking responsibility for water and nature together. We have a cabinet committee. I think it's met about once this year. That's not really screaming priority to me at the moment.
What would you say to that, Minister?
Well, I think in terms of the streamlining of how we deal with rivers in particular, there's a point in that there are quite a lot of chefs, I suppose, in the kitchen. You have the OPW when it comes to flooding, you have the Department of Environment because inland fisheries sits within the Department of Environment. You might have my own department because they may be special protected areas. So certainly there needs to be a streamlining, but in fairness, as a result of, for example, that devastating fish kill in Blackwater, Inland Fisheries Ireland did produce a rapid response protocol, and that is getting all of those stakeholders together, the ones that Roderick mentioned, all around the room, so that there can be a coordinated response to these fish kills. And we saw evidence of the success of that in the River Glyde, where very quickly the source of that particular polluting event
Let me ask you both something though. Nitrates and agriculture, I mean, is it the huge elephant in the river that no one really faces head on? And if you don't tackle that, the quality of our rivers will continue to deteriorate.
Is that to me, Miriam?
Yeah.
Yeah. But first of all, look, I have to say, look, obviously, when we talk about water quality, quite often the conversation does come back to farming. And I think farmers do find that frustrating. First of all, we need agriculture. We are very proud of what we produce. I'm down here in West Cork, where we're very proud of our dairy sector. And that's particularly in the context of the fact that as a state, we've just started to get our act together in terms of Ishgarin infrastructure and wastewater infrastructure. So we need to get on top of that first before we start, I suppose, finger pointing. But that said, we have to acknowledge that agriculture is certainly an issue. But in relation to derogation and nitrates derogation, and I assume Roderick's position remains the same in terms of maintaining the nitrates derogation. I would invite anyone onto a derogation farm in West Cork, and when it's done with compliance, you have slurry storage, you have the method of spreading slurry being done correctly, you have catch crops, etc. It can significantly increase improvements.
We have to recognise that nitrates is part of that discussion. But it's ultimately a matter of supporting farmers in making those changes, ensuring that there's less runoff from their land, ensuring that their cattle, their livestock aren't directly accessing water bodies. It's also a question, though, of the amount of chemical nitrogen fertiliser that's been used. That's increased by 14% in 2025, and we're going to see the impact of that in our water quality over the next year. So the schemes that have been brought in, and my colleague Malcolm Noonan would have worked for the Farming for Water scheme, that €60 million directly supporting farmers who are taking steps on their land. It has to be about continuously supporting agriculture, making those changes, and where those changes are going to impact on income, bringing in new income sources.